revolution seems to be, happening at a pace never seen before. And we are also living in a times where the technology seems to be changing by every minute. So what was relevant yesterday is not today, and what is today is not going to be tomorrow. So towards that, and towards making you people that much more aligned and current and relevant to the scenarios, we today have amongst us Professor Bhuta Singh Sidhu sir. Sir, a warm welcome.
Thank you, Tapskar ji. Good
Sir,
afternoon.
warm regards to you, sir. The Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Punjab Technical University, from Bhatinda, a prominent name in himself. I think if I start reading about the sir's CV, it will take me another 15 to 20 minutes just to cover up the achievements which the individual or the person in question has achieved. Suffice to say that everything that we look forward to in a person, everything that we look forward to academically, professionally, and even as an individual and a human being is possessed in Professor Bhuta Singh sir. And Bhuta Singh sir also happens to be one of the very well-known personalities who has contributed immensely to AICT in many of AICT's initiatives and activities, besides taking his own technical university to the highest laurels where we have reached today. We had requested Professor Bhuta Singh sir to please come on an online platform and be addressing to various participants. And sir was more than kind enough. And the topic for today's subject happens to be webinar on research indices. That is exactly what today is very, very pertinent. All of us get into research. All of us are getting into, writing PhDs. All of us want to write papers. It is extremely important for us to understand what is the current relevance and how best or how we are supposed to be achieving that, or where we should be focusing. With initial introduction, Bhuta Singh sir, the platform is all yours, and we'll request you to please take on the session from here and enlighten our participants.
Thank you, Dr. Karnal B. Venkat, for a good introduction, and thank you also to be for introducing me. I think first I have to share my screen.
Sir, permission has already been given to you, sir. You can share the screen, sir.
So is it visible to all?
Very clear, sir. Sir, extremely clear, visible, sir.
First of all, I'm thankful to All India Council of Technical Education for providing me this platform to interact with so-called very prestigious, very, I can say, renowned academicians, the faculty members. Special thanks to Dr. Punia, Dr. Colonel B. Venkat for making me in for this particular activity. Saurav Nagpal, who has continuously followed for that. So not taking much time, I will switch over to my talk. Before we start on the actual topic, I'm just interested to show one video. The person who is a good motivator, even motivational speaker, Nick Vujicic, who said that attitude is altitude. He says that if your attitude is positive, so automatically it will take you to the heights. Just see the video. Am I properly audible? Because many of you have written that the video sound is not there. Yes, someone will confirm if I am audible. Okay, I have a message. That is right. So the video is just about this Nick Bridges, who born without arms and without legs. So the achievements you can just see. He's a international motivational speaker, a New York Times best-selling author who was born in 1982. He has overcome seemingly impossible odds to become a highly sought-after motivational speaker, visited 65 countries, met with 16 presidents, addressed many government and spoken to over 6.5 million people live. So the purpose of this only like that, because the message he gives is okay, when your attitude is positive, it is your attitude that builds everything. So that is why all the times we define a person with like his attitude is positive or negative. Moreover, by looking upon him, you can just see the facilities, the thing we are having that we can utilize to give a quality education to our students, and any odds and events we can perform. This is the only message that the video is leaving for all. So we come out to our topic. So we'll discuss about the research indices to visualize your research and authorship impact. Again, it is a kind of discussion because there are so many common points we are discussing about this research indices. And any way, at any time, you can stop me for your queries, and even at the end of the speech, we may have to make a discussion on many of the points for your clarity. So basically, the main outlines of the discussion are like publishing quality, what publishing quality is, and why we're concerned about that, and then why we need these quality indices, then what citations are, what is a journal citation report, then what journal quality indices are. Generally, these indices are defined either related to a journal or related to a author. So what journal quality indices are and what author quality indices are, even we may left with one of the topic, because now you have a different types of like indices for institutions, for universities also. Then how to locate these author indices automatically or by manual ways. So we just speak about the research integrity and standards that will depend upon material to be published, your publishing source, and the experience of an author and his or her affiliations. So material to be published is what to publish. That is generally decided by the author who is publishing. Even the publishing source is much important, because where you are publishing whatever your material, if it is related to that particular journal, that particular book, so automatically you will find out a more weightage to your research. Then automatically your experience or your affiliations, because many of the speakers will talk about when you publish your papers, instead to see about like that impact factor or other things, you will just see where the top institutions, the top universities are publishing their research. So your affiliations, to which university, to which institution you are affiliated, that is also much important regarding to add the weightage to your publication. So all these things jointly define the research indices. Research process, we all know that because when we search the literature, we start with a very wide topic and we concentrate on a issue by knowing the gaps in the research, and automatically when you are proceeding, your documentation goes on increasing. So main steps are, you have to identify a topic of your interest on which you want to work, then generate the related questions from the literature research you can find out what gaps are there, what questions are there, what problems are there that need to be sought out. Then state unsolved problem. Then you have to formulate your problem by identifying these gaps on which area, on which particular topic you have to work, and then find or develop a solution for that. But the quality of your research output will depends upon the quality maintained at each step. Then only you can make the quality of your research. Research indices are like publishing of scientific research has become a very critical. We all know.
चैट on the chat है ना तो
Yes.
Telegram.
I think when someone maybe participant, you have to speak. Please mute your audio. Otherwise, it creates a disturbance to all. So generally, because the publishing of scientific research is much important upon our career progression also. So escalating competition to publish has led to the development of bibliographic research indices, because automatically when our own career is related to the publishing of our research, so it has increased a great competition. So that has led to define the research indices. So that defines a journal's academic repute as well as a researcher's output. So relatively, reputation of a journal and whatever your output, whatever your status, all will collaborate when you are publishing your research in a, I can say, topmost journals. Now, academic publishing is influenced by a tripod of interrelated factors. There are so many factors, like authors wish to publish more, because always we are interested to publish more number of papers, and even many times we will skew the data, whatever we are presenting in one paper, we divide it into like 1, 2, or 3 papers. On the other hand, the readers are overwhelmed by research and they wish to read less, whereas the editors are principally interested in enhancing their journal's readership and profile. And many times these three will contradict with each other, and we have to take into consideration all these factors that we might have to know about this before we are proceeding our publication, our paper for publication. There are 3 factors that led to development of citation indexing. So this comes out by we have developed this indexing system because followed by World War II, there is a huge flux of funds for research. Many of the authors have a great publication they need to be published, and this has made a huge data that required indexing it, because manual indexing practically is a very time consuming, because many of us all knows who did your PhDs like maybe 10 years back or before that, then how difficult is the literature review, how difficult is the problem formulation. Many times we have to visit so many number of libraries simply to identify the journals related to our topic. We manually search all these journals from the last, like for their publications for the last 10-15 years, so that we will finally make a conclusion to find out what gaps are there. But now by indexing, everything is available on a single click. You just to search on your computer, you will find out where research gaps are there. So it has made even the research, we can say, more easy. Then the current method of subject indexing was not useful because at the time, because it is a discipline specific terminology. Availability of machine for computing and data processing. This is another thing, because now we have a availability of such type of machines in which we can maintain all digital data. Now, from where we have decided like to about these impact factors, about these indexing. So this thing has first started by one of the article that is a very famous article by Vannevar Bush. The article name is As We May Think, published in 1945. The purpose of otherwise the information given by this article is about the computers, about the machines, where we can store a memory. Even that particular article speaks about how we can increase human memories by making these digitization. This is the concept which he has floated by Bush. Whereas by following this, by going through this article, the original article that relates to citation indexing for science, a new dimension in documentation through association of ideas, is given by Garfield, that was published in 1955, because Garfield is the one who has defined all these impact factors, and even he has worked for this institution for scientific information for digitization of all the data. Now, why we need these index, why we need indexing, why we need these indices? First is to evaluate the scholarly worth of a journal, because when we define something related to a journal in kind of its impact factor, then only by going through the impact factor you will find out what is the worth of that particular journal in which you are publishing your research. Then it will rank journals within a discipline. In the same discipline, you will find out a ranking of a journals, help you decide where to publish your article for maximum impact. Then evaluation for like your promotion, tenure, grants, or in some countries even government funding of an. So this is even the evaluation of an individual when we are giving like certain kinds of grants, we are giving certain types of promotions. These indices will also support us, will also help us. Frequently used as an evaluation source by librarians, because during when they will find out even they will cancellations or purchase of new journals. However, some examples are like in England, Herring panel routinely consider impact factors. By Spanish law, researchers are rewarded for publishing in journals defined by ISI as prestigious, like upper third of impact factor listings. In China, scientists get cash bonus for publishing in high impact journals. In some of the schools, project student must publish at least 2 articles with a combined impact factor. Even this is famous earlier in many of the universities also, where you need to publish certain papers, maybe 1 or 2, and even for your PhD degree, almost in all the universities you have to publish certain your papers that will add up to one condition imposed of relative to impact factors. Even in India, most of the universities consider these impact factors for hiring and research. So automatically, because we all know that in career advancement also, you have to attain certain academic indicator points, and one of the major, I can say, part of that is your research publications by relating to the like impact factor or author index. You have to achieve certain points from that. So automatically, when we have all these indexing are available, it has made easy to the institution, to the administrators to evaluate the individuals as well as to give the grants in many of the research projects also. Even it will facilitate the authors, because when they are familiar with websites or databases, even they know the weightage of different journals, when they are interested to publish. Many of the softwares, many of the other things are available on the internet that they can be utilized, all these free of cost, for adding quality to their research. Like there are so many websites like Thomson Reuters is there, that is basically owned by Web of Science or ISI. Google Scholar is there, even Scopus is there, that is owned by Elsewhere. So these are the various types of, like we can say, the data sources, the websites. We can visit these to find out the impact factor of a journal, even to know about, to find out the data related to different authors. Even the Web of Knowledge, that is formerly known as Institute of Scientific Information, is an academic citation indexing and search service which is provided by, generally which is owned by, provided by Thomas Reuters and founded by Eugene Garfield in 1960. Web of Knowledge covers the like science, social science, arts and humanities field. It provides a complete bibliographic content, even the tools to assess, analyze and manage research information. It captures more than 65 million of cited references annually. The Scopus is, that is owned by Elsewhere. Scopus is a bibliographic database containing citations for academic journals. It more relates to academic journals. It covers nearly 22,000 titles from over 5,000 publishers. Now, challenges for publication at indexed journals. There are so many challenges when you are going to publish your research publication to many of the indexed journals. When you have an unoriginal research, because in an indexed journals, all the data, whatever the research made by other authors is available online. When you have incorrect or your flawed research methods, even unrepresentative statistics, when you have even plagiarism, if you have in your publication, if its sample size is very small, even if you don't have any ethical approvals, and if you have not written it properly. These are the major challenges. Because of this indexing, you cannot publish your paper if it is having these flaws. But as well as there are so many opportunities are available that will assist you to overcome the challenges of publication, like online courses of biostatistics is there. These all are free. You can visit upon that. You will find out the size of your sampling like that. But that will support you to add a quality to your publication. There are so many like softwares available online. GPower is one of the, I can say, very powerful tool that can be used for making, for sizing, making accurate size of your samples, and even for many of the other tests. You can visit. Even it is free of cost available, developed by one of the university. Even there are so many plagiarism detector programs are free available. Before like submitting your publication for its for your manuscript publication, you can make a plagiarism check so that you will find out how much plagiarism is there, and you can make, yeah, you can amend it accordingly before submitting it for publication. Even there are so many like websites, the other like programs are there. There are so many softwares are there that you can utilize to add the quality of your. These are the some of the, I can say, the things that are provide the opportunities to the authors to add a quality to their research, and all are free of cost. Even this will make your research more visible and more reachable, because when it is available on certain ISI journals, there are so many readers, so automatically your research will flourish at a fast rate. So this is all about these indexes. Now we come over the citation and referencing in research work. This is also one of the, we can say, a very major important part when you are making any type of a research. Maybe you're working on some research project, or maybe you are making your you're working for your PhD research in all these cases, citations and referencing is much important. If we define a citation, so broadly, your citation refers to one is your bibliographic listing at the end and giving a weightage to a particular author, to a particular journal from which you are referring something in defining your own research work. Wherever we refer it, we make a small note on that, and at the end we give a that publication in the bibliographic list. When both these are added, then it will become a complete citation. If you simply give the list of a paper at the end, it is not a citation. And even if you are only marked where you are referring in the text, then again, if a note is there but without any reference in the bibliography index, then it is not complete. So your complete citation is when you note it, give a note wherever you are referring in your text, and at the end you will add it into the list of your references. So that will complete your citation. So there is a journal citation report. Generally, it is a report that is published, journal citation report, that gives you a complete database relative to from where, like you can find, it will enlist the impact factor of journals and other matrices that relates to the journal title. The relative importance of the journals, because if you have this journal citation report, then you will find out a relative ranking, relative impact factors that will support you to publish your particular research paper, to decide in which journal you have to publish your research. Other uses are like it will support to the librarians, it will support to the researchers and to the publishers, because you can simply discover highest impact journals so that you can choose them for publication of your manuscript. Even it will develop and manage journal collections, because you can find out the related journals, you can make certain collections for that. Even you can easily find out the related journals to your research. You can identify the review journals also, and you can view citation information for subject categories. Now, if we define the journal quality indices, because as we already discussed, the two ways, one is your journal indices and other is your author indices. First, we'll discuss the journal quality indices. There are following quality indices, like for journal Thomson Reuters, which is owned by Web of Science, that defines impact factor. Most important, because always we talk about the impact factor. Then immediacy index. There is a eigenfactor. Scopus, that is owned by Elsevier, defines again a type of journal rank, that is SCI Mago journal ranking. So there are little difference between all that, and we will discuss term-wise the importance and how we calculate these indices. Like impact factor, as clearly indicated from its name, impact, it means the impact factor indicates the impact of a particular type of a journal. Automatically, the impact means if it is a more impact, it is publishing more quality research papers. So automatically, the number, higher the number, it indicates higher impact factor of that particular journal. So it is indicative of the importance, impact, rank of a journal by calculating the times its articles are cited. Generally, these impact factors, when we define, it is relative to how frequently the papers, articles, a journal is publishing, it is referred by the other authors when they are making their publications, maybe in the same journal or maybe to the other journals. The impact factor is a measure used to indicate the relative importance. Again, it is a relative because we all know that we start from, so automatically it is the relative importance of each other, not a whole number. The impact factor was devised by Eugen Garfield, the founder of the Institution for Scientific Information, that is now known as Web Science. Impact factor are calculated yearly starting from 1975 for those journals that are indexed the ISI. How we calculate the impact factor? This is suppose you are interested to calculate the impact factor of a particular journal for the year 2009, then the method is if you have your citation window for 2 years, like 2007 and 2008. If you're interested to find out for 2009, then we will enlisting all the citations made to the articles published by the journal in these 2 years. If the journal published those 100 articles, then out of these 100 articles for both the years, how much citations are there? We will enlist them to find out the impact factor. The method is clearly given here with an example, like to calculate the impact factor of a journal in 2009, its impact factor is A by B, where A is the number of times that all items published in that journal in the year 2007 and 2008 were cited by indexed publications during the year 2009. The papers, those were published in these 2 years, will be cited in the 2009. We simply count the number. So that is A. B is the total number of citable articles. You just see this, the citable article, because there are so many articles, those are not citable, like certain reports are there, certain other type of papers are there. So it will consider only citable articles published by that journal in these 2 years, 2007 and 2008. The number, how much number the articles are published, that is the denominator, whereas the numerator is the how much number of citations are there. Now cites in 2009, items published in NA is supposed, like here it is 22,087, and the number of items published are 709. That is the citable article. So your impact factor is A divided by B. It comes out to be 31.152. This is how simply we find out the impact factor. This is a very simple method. Only you have to find out the number of citations for these 2 years. Now, where do we find these impact factors? Even you can find these impact factors if you are having journal citation reports. So automatically journal citation report publish the different impact factors of the journals. Even you can check IASI website, Web of Knowledge, with a new session. Both Web of Science and journal citation report are based on the same database of, because it is the same group, the same website that is managing these 2. Now there are so many like criticism, there are so many limitations are there for impact factor, like it only uses the articles cited by the ISI journal, where number is 13,000. Only it includes the citations made by these 13,000 number of journals, whereas it will not consider non-indexed journals. There are so many citations for these non-indexed journals also. Some disciplines are especially poorly covered because when we stick to certain limit numbers, so automatically many of the disciplines are totally missing in that. Then even inclusion of non-English journals, even it is a short 2-year span short of a journal. It considers only 2 years. Some disciplines use older material more or take time to cite new research, because there are so many journals where generally new articles are not considered. When we consider these after 2-3 years, so automatically that will not give you a clear idea about the impact factor. Even now, in the journal citation report, you can find out the impact factor by considering 5-year data also. Many times it says that not all articles are equally well cited. Second important is it includes self citations also. This is also one of the major, we consider limitation, the criticism. When it includes self citations, so many times that is article in which article cites other papers in the same journal. So that will create even intentionally many of the authors, editors have to refer the previously published papers, and many times even you will find out the comments of your paper when you submit it. The reviewer says simply you have to look into this research paper. So that is give a one kind of biased behavior where you can either increase or decrease the impact factor. It only includes citable articles in the denominator of the accusation, either that articles and reviews. So it only includes the citable articles. So editors may skew impact factor by increasing the number of review articles, which brings in more citations, because when you publish more number of review papers, so automatically your review papers will have a more number of citations. So that automatically increase the denominator, that will increase the impact factor of a journal. Or by increasing the number of the many times the editor will publish more number of items, those are not citable. So automatically it will decrease the denominator. The first will increase the denominator, whereas it will decrease the denominator. So both will increase your impact factor. But many times, because the data is available in the journal citation reports and these are much expensive, you cannot buy it, but the best method is you can visit to the website. Then, because when we discussed about this impact factor relates to our data of either 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but it do not give you immediate figure, the immediate idea about the journal. Because of that, ISI has defined immediacy index also. The immediacy index is the average number of times an article is cited in the year in which it is published. It is for the same year. How many citations are there? How many articles are there? So it will define a immediacy index. Otherwise, the method to find out is the same, but it indicates how quickly the articles in a journal are cited. Because many times the frequently publishing journals, those will publish their issue frequently, there are the more chances for its citation in the same year. So that will have a advantage for that. And immediacy index is a measure of hot, topical and urgent work published in a scientific journal is. How much important is, because if your article, your journal is publishing much important research publications, these are immediately referred. So automatically these journals will have high immediacy index. Along with better known impact factor measure, it is calculated each year by the Institute of Scientific Information for those journals which it indexes. Both impact factor and immediacy indices are published annually in the journal citation report. The method to find out is the same as we have discussed in like impact factor. It is the same, like A is the number of times article published in the, but here the year is same. In that case, it is for the previous 2 years, but in the same year, how much is the citations and how much is the number of articles published. So automatically the number of article reviews proceeding, it includes all. because in the previous one, only citable articles are considered, but in this case, in the immediacy index, we consider all type of publication. It may be article, it may be a review paper, any type it is. But immediacy index is A divided by B. As with the impact factor, there are some nuisances to this, means there are so many, we consider little difference in that, but only ISI excludes certain articles. In that case, only citable articles are considered, whereas in this case, all type of articles are considered in the denominator. This is the only difference, small difference between the two. Now we have an eigenfactor. The purpose of this eigenfactor is
अटेंडन्स भरायचे
to measure
अटेंडन्स
how
भरायचे
many
B9
people.
ची आज सुरू केलं रचनाचा आज आला की आता सुरू झालं सर B9 चा
तर अपना ऑडियो काइंडली आप अगर म्यूट कर लें.
हा ना तेच ना काही पण करतात
हेलो.
म्हणजे तुम्ही 19 जुलै पासून लोड नाही घेत आणि आता एकदमच लोड घेऊन राहिले
You are asking some question or otherwise you are.
आणि जगदीशला सांगतो त्याला फोन करून
तर अपना
कसं काय तू बोलायला पाहिजे ना, म्हटलं तू कसं काय मेसेज टाकू शकतो
काइंडली अगर इनको बोले अगर इनका अपना ऑडियो जो म्यूट कर लें, क्योंकि बाकी को सभी को डिस्टरबेंस हो रही है. Measure how many people read a journal and think its contents are important. So eigenfactor is given you an idea that indicate that how many readers are there for a particular type of a journal, how many people will read the article published in that particular journal. As it cannot measure directly, because directly you cannot come to know how many people will read. So the method developed by the eigen, that is known as eigenfactor, to find out, so automatically it is referred by considering the number of citations, because if you have a more number of readers, so automatically you will have a more number of citations. So it will count citations to define how many people will read that particular journal in kind of an eigenfactor, but it includes citations from non-ISI journals as well as books and dissertations, etc.
मी अटेंडन्स
Measure how many people read a journal.
काय आपल्यासोबतच काय विचित्र असते सगळ्या गोष्टी
Measure how many people read a journal and think its contents are important. So automatically, it measures the importance of a journal in the scientific community and rewards large journals, because automatically, if you find out if there are the journals, those are publishing more number of articles, so automatically there are more number of readers are there, more number of citations are there. So automatically it rewards to the large journals. Those includes much number of like their numbers, yearly number, and automatically each number will have more number of articles. So big journals are rewarded by eigenfactor. They are having a higher eigenfactor. But how we find out these eigenfactor matrices are, like if you are interested to know eigenfactor for the year 2009, then the citation window is for the previous 5 years, 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, instead of 2 years as in impact factor. So eigenfactor is for a journal the number of times article published in the previous like 5 years have been cited in the current year. So automatically the citations are counted for a current year for the 5-year previous publications, but it includes all ISI, non-ISI books, a measure of the journal's total importance to the scientific. So otherwise we have to make a normalize it. So instead to give a so much huge number of citations, you will normalize so that for a total citation report, your number is 100. So automatically we can say by adding all that, we will find out in the percentage wise what is the relative importance relative to the readers for a particular type of a journal. As well as it defines an article influence. First one is it defines the number of readers, but it will define article influence also, because when you find out a article influence, then by having the citations as in the eigenfactor, the number of uh, uh, we can say number of readers, that is simply the number of citations divided by the total number of articles published by the during these 5 years. So that will indicate average influence of an article. If your article may be referred 2 times, 3 times, that is the average article influence, not a single article. For a journal, for that particular journal, what is the average article influence is there? Okay, how many times their particular article is referred. The article and influence scores measured by average influence we have already discussed, where it is normalized to a 1. So relatively, you will have your article and influence. Then we make total in the citation report as 1 by adding all that. Then this is what is defined by ISI journals, whereas SI Mago journal ranking SJR, that is defined by elsewhere
हा हा
by the Scopus.
तू माझ्या अंडर आहे का? मला कारण की 2च ग्रुप होते आणि तिसरा ग्रुप तुमचा दिसतोय आता मला. तुम्ही काही कॉन्टॅक्ट नाही केला? काल मीटिंग पण ठेवली होती, तुम्हाला ऍड पण केलं होतं, तुम्ही जॉईन नाही झाले मीटिंगला 3 वाजता 4 वाजता सॉरी.
That is developed by Professor Flex D. Moya, whereas this SJR SI Mago journal rank
कुठल्या तरी याला लिस्ट मध्ये दिसलं तुमचं नाव माझ्या याच्यात.
based on the idea that all citations are not created equally.
हा 49च ना.
सर आप अपना अगर ऑडियो काइंडली म्यूट कर लीजिए. मैंने बहुत बार आई हैव आस्क्ड यू मेनी टाइम्स अर्लियर आल्सो, प्लीज म्यूट योर ऑडियो.
एकच मिनिट थांब.
So SI Mago journal ranking basically
योगेश सानप, तुषार विस्पुते. हा मग इथं या लिस्ट मध्ये इंटरनल गाईड तर माझ्या समोर आहे लिहिलेलं. तू लिस्ट चेक केली का?
सौरभ जी, वो कोई एक आदमी है जिसने अपना पे बात कर रहा है जाता, उसने अपना ऑडियो म्यूट नहीं किया हुआ.
नाही पण इथे जगदीश सर तर आपले हे रिव्ह्यूअर आहे ना.
हाँ देखो, इसमें बात अभी भी आ रही है.
बघा एकदा व्यवस्थित बघा.
तो काइंडली आप बोल देंगे अगर उसको म्यूट कर ले. ओके ठीक है. हाँ जी. ओके 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 मैं म्यूट करता हूँ. ओके 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 मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. ओके 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 ओके. I think thank you Sarvadi, because if there is one person who is whose audio is on and he's talking on phone, I think that is creating a disturbance. Anyhow, only the difference between impact factor and SI Mago journal ranking is one is they have a like different databases. It is by like Scopus, that is by Thomas Reuters. But the second difference is if you have defined your SI Mago journal ranking, it includes the weightage to a particular journal also, because if your citation came from a journal whose impact factor is 1, other citation came from a journal whose impact factor is 2, 3, 5, so relative weightage is given to that. This is much important, that is taken into account by this SI Mago journal ranking. So otherwise the method to measure is the same automatically, because there is a like 3-year window and it will exclude self citations as one of the limitation, one of the disadvantages of that impact factor is there that includes self citation, but this SI Mago ranking excludes the self citation. So it will give you a more real figure about the journal ranking. The citation page rank of a journal calculated on the basis of Scopus citation data divided by the number of articles published. It is only for over 3 years. So similar to Eigen method, but because Eigen method will also, when we find out eigenfactor, that will also give the weightage to the citation. As in the eigenfactor also, if your journal is having a high impact factor, its citation will have a different weightage that is given in that eigenfactor also. Similarly, here in this case, because it is having a more big data, because it covers more than 20,000 journals, then the journal citation report, it covers more number of journals, more international diversity is there, and the span of years is 3 years for citation. There's no self-citation, we have already discussed. This is a simple comparison, just I have taken from internet. Higher is the better in all the cases. That is already there, because we have discussed like different types of journal, Science, Cell, Nature. Then there like journal impact factor 2 years, journal impact factor on 5-year database, then eigenfactor, then a same value. Simply the display of these different types of rankings. Now this is all about when we say these matrices relates to a journal, because the journal of publishing the papers, whereas when we switch over to a quality indices for authors, so automatically as clear, it gives the evaluation of a particular type of a author. When you visit on the website, you will find out the impact factor, so you have an idea what type or what is the impact of that particular author. So these indexes are H index, G index, HB index, and many times you will find out many types of grants, many of the government bodies, even government organization will directly give you if your index, H index is more than the maximum number they have defined. Like in DRDO, probably they define if your H index is more than 30, many of the grants you simply apply and you will get it. We define what these matrices are. What is a H index? The H index is a metric to measure the productivity and impact of the published work of scholars. So basically this H index is developed by George Hirsch in 2005. Your H index will counts for both the quality as well as quantity as well as quality. Because when we study, when we learn how to find out H index, you will find out that it will give a weightage to your number of your papers published, and quality is relative to number of your citations. By considering both, you can define a H index. So proposed by J. Harris as an index to quantify an individual's scientific research output. There is one important thing is like that, although the impact factor relates to our journals, but many times the author's performance is evaluated relative to impact factor. Like I'm talking about like AI, जो academic pointer indicate API scores. In all that, the scores are calculated with relative to what is the impact factor of your journal, and you will find out the numbers given to your publication. But that is usually a method. But otherwise, impact factor is related to the journals, not to the authors. Combines an assessment of both quality, quantity we already discussed. The index can also be applied to the productivity and impact of a group of scientists, such as a department, or because now you will find out that H index for your institution, for your university, for your group and for a country also. The index is based on the distribution of citations received by a given researcher's publications, where you will just understand a scientist has index H if H number of his or her papers have at least H citations each. Suppose if your H index is 5, then your 5 papers must have 5 or more than that citations for the 5 number of papers. And there is no paper that is having, like if your number of papers are 6 and your 5 papers have 5 publications, the remaining one will have citations lesser than the 5. You understand? If your H and X is, even we have some more examples also. If suppose you have a 10 publications and your citations may be 150, maybe 200, maybe 300, but if your H and X is 5, it means your 5 papers might have a citation each more than 5 or equal to 5. And the remaining 5 papers have a citations less than 5, maybe 4, maybe 3, maybe 1. Your first paper may have like 120 citations, but for your 5 impact factor, your each 5 papers individually having a citation equal to or more than 5, whereas the remaining papers have a citation lesser than 5. There are many of the misunderstandings are there. Like here, if you have an author A, he or she has published 10 documents and number of citations are 102. On an average, 10 citations per document is there. So its H and X is 10. But this is a misunderstanding. It is not like that. You have one more example, like you see that these 10 papers, although having 102 citations, but paper first is having 50 citations, 2 is having 30, 3 is 10, 4 is 5, and 5th paper is having only 2 citations. Now, are your H and X the number of papers you are having a citations more than that or equal to that? Like in this case, the H and X is 4 only, because there are 4 papers, those are having citations equal to or more than 4. All the remaining have citations lesser than 4. So automatically its H and X is 4, not a 10. I think you completely understand from this example. Otherwise, it's a very simple method. If you plot your citation on one side and your papers on one side, so automatically you will make a graph and you can draw a line. So this is number of papers, this is number of citations. So this will define your H and X. At this point, how many papers are there H? And all these papers are having citation more than H. This is how you will find out your H and X. But otherwise, there is a manual method to find out the H and X. There is a automatic method. You can visit to the Scopus. You can visit to the Google Scholar for all that. Like measure of H. First, we learn how we manually measure the H and X. To find out that to measure the H and X for a particular author, the first one is you will have a list of the published articles. You will make a list of the published articles first, then determine the citations of each article, maybe through Google Scholar or maybe through other database. Find out the citations for each article. Then the third step is rank the articles from the most cited to the least cited, regardless the date of publication. It may be published in any year, but you will make a list. On the top, you will have a paper that will have a maximum number of citations, and in the decreasing order, you will enlist all the publications, like your first paper 28, 22 in the decreasing order. Like this is the example in the same paper where we have 6 publications. Here, draw the chart or spreadsheet example. Authors have number of articles 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number of citations are 21. Where in this case, first paper is having 7 citations. Second have 5 citations. Third have 4. Where fourth will have only 3 citations, only 1 citation. So 3 papers are having more than 3 citations. So its H and X is 3. Similarly, there are so many websites you can visit relatively the databases to find out, like on the Scopus, you simply by adding the name of an author, you'll find out the list where he is having 53 number of documents, citations are 731, where is H and X is 14. It will well explain like the same article. Its first paper is having 124 number of citations. Second paper is having 106. Third paper is having like 87 citations, whereas the 12th paper is having 21 citations. 14th document have 15 citations and 15th document have cited 14 times. It means its H and X is 14. Even the same is listed there. Even you can measure the H and X by automatically through Google Scholar. If you visit to the Google Scholar, even it will give you I10 and X also. I10 and X is simply, it will give the number of papers, those are having more than 10 citations. Simply lists this. So you will simply find out all the detail. It's article wise, it's H and X, it's I index, its number of citation. Even you will find out them yearly. You can visit Web of Science. Again, you will find out all these values. What is the H and X? Even you will find out that in the form of charts, if you have subscribed that by your institution, the Web of Science, automatically you will find out all these matrices available. Like it will give you a complete list. This is all about the H and X. Now we come to a G index. G index is also to measure the impact of the author. The G index is an index for quantifying scientific productivity based on publication record. It was suggested in 2006 by Leo Agee. The index is calculated based on the distribution of citations received by a given researcher. So in this case, instead of two matter like in the previous case, where we say if your H and for your H and X, your H number of publications might have either equal to H or more than H number of citations. In this case, that doesn't matter, but it says that your top G journals, top G articles, G is a number, if it will be a 5, then your top 5 article must have the number of citations square to that 25. If your H and X is G, then top G articles might have the citations G square. Only this is a difference. Instead to define like there's no condition of like that, it will have a H number of citations. This is much important, HB index, because the HB index takes into account the access number of publications as we have studied in H and X. When we define H and X, your H and X will give no weightage for the citations lesser than H. Like if your H and X is 5, there are so many articles, those have citations 3 to 1, it will not give no weightage. Even there are so many articles, those are having citations more than 5, again no weightage is given. So your HB index considers all that. It will first find out the access citations and then it will give a credit to that. Like to address these, you will find out that this is the extension. So HB index is H plus square root of E, where E is the access number of citations that is not included in the H and X. Like as greater than H square citations are access citations, and it appears reasonable and desirable to modify the H and X by giving a credit to these citations. Simply, if we can say, if there are the new authors, they are having like this HB index facilitate them instead of experienced authors. This is only like it is given HV index reveals the ripening fruit, whereas H index reveals the fully ripened fruit. Where your authors have a full experience, more number of papers he or she has published, then H index will reveal such type of authors, whereas the new authors are revealed by HV index. This is a simply comparison. You will find out if author is like that, the paper A, whose total citations are 100, there is no such citation. This 100 citations are for 10 publications, or each publication is having a 10 citations, then its H and X and HV index is same, because there is no excess citations are there. Where in the another example, where again 10 publications are there, but citations are 190, excess citations are 90, then its H and X is 10, but its HV index is 19.48. That is 10 plus square root of, under square of this 90. So similarly, you will find out this difference, because relatively when you have a more number of excess citation, even when you have H and X and HV index, you will have a clear idea that your distributions are not equally, citations are not equally distributed. If you have a very variation in the citation, you have a large HV index as compared to H index. There are certain methods automatically just show you one video, and then I think I have to, the time is already much, so we have to finish with the talk. Just see how I will take not more than 5-10 minutes. This is how we can find out on the website by knowing a particular type of author, all her details related to with H and X and other things. But dear friends, the understanding of all these matrices, all these matrices meant for to develop a strategy how you can improve your H and X, how you can improve your authorship. There are so many ways. Many of are unethical ways, like if you are adding unnecessarily of your own references to all your publications. So, but there are so many ethical ways also. There are so many strategies also how you can improve your H and X, how you can improve your authorship. Like some of them is like you have to learn about search engine optimization. If you clearly learn about search engine optimizations, you can update accordingly, so that when someone will search for any type of a publication, your paper will appear there, and there are the chances for referring of that particular articles. Other one is you may have to collaborate with like a very experienced authors. If you have a new author, when you collaborate with an experienced author, because many times there are very famous authors whose publications are immediately referred, immediately cited by the other authors. If you have a joint publications with them, so automatically it will increase your H&X also. There are so many other strategies also, like for publishing your paper, you will publish in the journals. Those are having high impact factor, high eigen factor, where articles are frequently referred. There are so many ways, so many strategies you can plan to improve, but you can only plan, you can only improve if you understand all these matrices. The purpose of this today's talk is relative to give you an awareness about that, how these H and X's, how the other matrices are calculated, so that you can plan accordingly strategy to improve your own authorship. But otherwise, finally, there is no way to get experience except through the experience. When you will go through all these matrices by at your own, then automatically, yeah, I think you will have a more chances to improve your research, to improve your authorship also. So with this, I end my talk. Thank you all for your patience listening, and thanks to All India Council of Technical Education also for providing me this opportunity. Now I'm open if you have any type of a question, any type of a discussion we can make on the topic. So thank you all. Hanji, apna Saurabh ji, anyone, if you have any question, please, I'm open for discussion. Any type of a question, any type of a query. You can put your question in chat box also if there is any question. So that these can be answered. If you have any query in the chat box, please. Someone have asked about, sir, there is any free software for checking plagiarism. There are so many softwares that are available on the internet, and even many of the universities have purchased that because they need it for their processing their PhD thesis. So they have given login IDs to all their research scholars also, for their even their supervisors also. So you can contact to anyone. Otherwise, on the website also you will find out there are so many softwares. They will do up to certain extent, and after that, it is also very cheap. Even many times for a 1 week, for a 1 day, you have to pay only $3-4 to purchase that and do your work on that. There is only one question, I think. Yes, second is like some question. Another question is there. So this is, I think, same relative to the question is, many times we publish a paper and after we feel distressed that it's cloned one. So I think how to avoid this? It is like we can avoid by making by going on this plagiarism software, because if some paper similar to you have already published, then automatically you will find out like there are more number of plagiarism is there, you have to change your paper. But otherwise, if someone other will do it, I think it is not possible, because now, because of this indexing, I have discussed in one of the slide earlier also, it is very difficult now to publish the same paper again, identical to that. You have, because all the journal softwares are there, they will make plagiarism search, and even your paper is reviewed by many of the reviewers also. So generally it is not possible. Hello. I need to know about the cloned journals. Cloned topic, I think I do not understand. Cloned journals, maybe, because I cannot clearly answer your question at the moment, because one question is there. I want to know about the cloned journals. I think this maybe relates to a duplicacy of a journal, but don't clearly say at this moment. There are cloned journals with same, that is only a duplicacy, because many people will create that, but otherwise every journal, because now that's why we are talking about this ISI journals, because ISI next journals already they don't have such type of cloned journals, because they have very effective their websites, and you can find out all information there itself. Nice and detailed. Okay, there is no other question, I think. What are the hijacked journals? These all that, because now someone has written that what are the hijacked journals. These all things are happen many times, because many of your softwares, many of your other websites are hijacked. That is a kind of like, now there are a number of such softwares are also there to protect your website, to protect your journal, whatever your data is online, you can make its privacy, you can protect it. There are so many softwares are there, but still there are so many people also so expert that they will hijack. But I can say to avoid it is only possible when you have a very high quality softwares with you to protect your website or protect your data. If journal is discontinued, is good research also based? That is not like that, because if you have published in some of the journals, if it is a quality journal at that time, then its quality will remain as it is, because someone has written in the chat box that many of the journals are discontinued. So now they are not publishing a new research, but automatically weightage to your papers is already there relative to at that year, whatever is the impact factor, the whatever data pertains to that journal at that time. Such journals are very costly. Why? There are so many, because now someone has written in the chat box that many of the open access journals are very costly, because many times your open access journal will be supportive for increasing your H index, because when it is open access, so many of the it will have a more number of readers, so your article is easily available to more number of like researchers. Otherwise they have to buy it from, if your journal is not open access journal. But costly is means many times there is a business, they will charge for their publications, but I can say many of the quality journals are there, those will waive off all your publication charges. Otherwise there are so many paid journals. I think we need not to recommend that, because by paying so much amount is similar to like many of our colleagues have many of the awards, they will purchase it. There are so many websites, you go over there, you have to pay a registration fees. So similar is for that paid journals also. So I think we need not to go through these journals. There are so many journals, even index journals, those will publish your papers free of cost. Are there any government and private? There's one question in the chat box. Are there any government and private type journals, paid journals? UGC says publication approved journals. Yes, because UGC has also made a list of journals we generally say it UGC approved journal. That is only a kind of a check to the paid journals, because many journals are publishing by charging so much from the authors, because authors are under compulsion because they have to publish their research for submission of their thesis. To avoid all these unethical practices, the UGC has approved list of journals are there, and they will only give a weightage if you publish in these journals. And generally, the journals in the list are not the paid journals. They will publish your paper free of cost. If there are no other question, then I think we have to finish the talk. So again, thank you all for your patience listening, and even making many of your queries also to understand. I will also find out some more data related to that, so that I will add these things to my talk, making it more fruitful if to the some of the other, I think, participants. So thank you all. Thank you.